We're out here today enjoying some sun and testing the Nike Vapor Pro 3s. Let's get started.
I was really excited to try the updated Nike Vapor Pro 3. I'm very familiar with the Vapor line of shoes and have play tested a bunch of them. And comparing it directly to the previous version, I found absolute stepping comfort and more cushion right away. I thought the heel collar was much improved, felt super plush around my feet, that tongue was nice and soft, and that Zoom Air unit feels more intentional. So I felt like it was bouncier than the previous version. But the one thing I did notice is after about 45 minutes of intense drilling, I did get a little bit of pain and soreness under my forefoot. I tend to prefer a little bit more cushion in my shoe. I'm not the lightest on my feet. So I think this is going to be a great option for those Vapor Pro 2 players that still want a shoe. This one's gonna feel more cushion for sure. I found the fit to be really nice. It fits my feet perfectly. I did notice as the play test went on, it does kind of open up a little bit, so I would have to cinch up a little more as we play tested it, but no problem for my medium width feet and my high arches. I really appreciated the outsole. We had a chance to play test a version of the shoe that has a color changing outsole as you wear it out. I'm never usually the one that's the hardest on my outsole, so it's really cool to see that this new heart rubber is holding up really well. I think I still have a good amount of time left in these shoes. And all in all, I find this to be an awesome update in the Vapor line. I think it's gonna be a really nice cushion, fashion forward, good looking shoe for players of all levels.
I'm really excited to say that the Vapor Pro 3s are my favorite Nikes for the past few seasons. They fit my wider feet really nicely. Initially, when I put my feet in there, the uppers were a little bit snug, not uncomfortable, not causing any pain, but as I wore them, they did relax a little bit and offered lots of comfort, so my feet were able to relax and I was not noticing any discomfort or any squeezing whatsoever in the forefoot or through the midfoot. I also really enjoyed the cushioning level. I put these shoes on right next to my old Vapor Pro 2s, and I really could tell the difference that these shoes have more cushioning underfoot and feel a bit bouncier. As I moved around the court for the first hour, I didn't use that last eyelet, but as I went for my second hour of hitting, I did use the extra eyelet just to secure up the fit in the ankle, but I did really like the cushioned feel there all the time, and once I added that extra eyelet, I was getting that nice and secure feeling around the ankles that I like. I didn't notice any issues with traction. I thought I could move smoothly, so I wasn't worried there. And as far as durability, they're holding up well. I am seeing some wear, but nothing too alarming, especially considering how light and fast these do feel. Overall, I'm really excited because I'm going to keep wearing these Nikes. I find them to be a good fit for my wider feet.
I was a big fan of the Vapor Pro 2, so I was excited to see what Nike did with this update. And first thing I always look for is the fit. And so when I slip these shoes on my feet, I noticed a perfect standard length. I had that narrow width foot, so I did find a nice snug medium right at the beginning. I did find it to open up, which I'll get to a little bit later on. And then for arch support, it fit me perfectly. So overall, a great good fit walking down onto the court. I didn't have a break-in period, but I would say I had a small adjustment period of just like the first 30 minutes of my first hit, getting used to the shoe and kind of feeling the flex and how the shoe was kind of molding around my feet. But after that 30 minutes, I felt like I was good to go. Now, the highlights of this shoe for me are comfort, traction, and durability. I found this to be a very comfortable shoe, very cushioned, especially under the heel, around that ankle collar, and the tongue all had great cushioning for me. I thought that the traction offered a really great blend of give and grip. I felt like I could really move aggressively and really be confident in my movement. And for durability, we had that premium, that PRM colorway that Michelle mentioned. So it had a really fun color changing outsole, but I have plenty of life left in that shoe. I have easily 15 to 20 hours on the shoe. So I have great durability in that aspect. For support and stability for me, this is where I struggled just a little bit. For me, I couldn't get my heel locked in completely. I did have to use that last eyelet, but I was still finding that when I was stepping, the ankle collar would flare out, and I was constantly retying my shoe to get a better fit. So I was finding a lot of movement within the shoe. Now, when it comes to weight, I found that this one weighs pretty similarly to the previous generation, although I didn't feel as fast. They feel pretty similar, but maybe just for whatever reason, I didn't feel quite as quick. Overall, I love the looks, and I thought it offered a great playability, just opened up a little bit too much for my narrow width feet.
The previous version of this shoe, which was the Vapor Pro 2, was actually my all-time favorite. So I had really high expectations coming into this playtest. Right out of the box, the Vapor Pro 3 feels really comfortable, and I would say the comfort levels are right up there with the Vapor Pro 2. The biggest difference when it comes to comfort levels, in the new version of the shoe, the zoom unit is way smaller, so it's a bit less bouncy for me. I really enjoyed how the Vapor Pro 2 helped me rebound from the court a bit easier thanks to that air zoom unit. And now, because it's a bit smaller in this version, I just get a bit less rebound effect. Comfort levels are right there, it's just a bit different kind of comfort. I definitely enjoy the nice padding around the heel and just overall how the upper feels. It's nice and snug. The upper feels a bit bulky for me, especially comparing it to the previous generation. The Vapor Pro 2's upper was much more aerodynamic, and with this version, I just feel like there's a bit too much space, almost a bit too much material, and the upper kind of bends in a weird way when I'm stepping, which makes me a bit uncomfortable. So all in all, I just wish Nike didn't change the upper much and kind of stayed with the previous version. Now, when it comes to durability, I think Nike did a great job with the upgrades to this outsole. I think it is definitely more durable compared to the previous generation, which I know that was a bit of an issue for some players. But overall, the outsole feels very nice. I love the amount of give I was getting with this shoe. I do like to slide around my shots a little bit and just kind of adjust out of my shots a little bit more. So the outsole definitely allowed me to do that. When it comes to weight, the shoes are definitely on the more lightweight side. But for some reason, they feel a bit more bottom heavy for me, which I know is just a sensation because on paper, they still count as a lightweight shoe option, but just it was something noticeable compared to the previous generation for me. I don't want to sound like I don't like this version of the shoe because I still think this is an amazing shoe option for players looking for a lightweight, speedy, comfortable, stable shoe, but it just unfortunately doesn't live up to my expectations and how much I love the previous generation. For more information on this shoe or any others, please go check out Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.